Hey guys, what's going on? It's been a while since I made a video, but we have a new hero pool this week. It's a special one. It lasts the entire week. It has the newest hero, Retrograder, as well as 3 other heroes. So we're going to talk about it in this video, dissect it, see if you should go for it or if you shouldn't, depending on your situation. And I'll rate all of the heroes in the pool. So let's get right into it. So over here we have our hero pool. It's the new hero batch 2. We have Retrograder, Huntress, Predator, and Scarlet Siren. Now the main one that people want to hear about is Retrograder. So we're actually going to do that at the end because it's a little bit more complicated. So let's talk about the Huntress. The Huntress is a ranged vehicle hero, basically meaning she's going to do a ton of damage. And that's exactly what Huntress does. A ton of damage. That's basically it. You can pair Huntress with quite a few heroes, but specifically heroes that do auto attack augmentation. So Predator is a great hero for Huntress, probably the best hero for Huntress, and it's really cool that they're in the same pool. Anastasia is another good hero. Even Vanguard you can work with. You can work with Panther, heroes like that who are going to actually augment those basic attacks. So overall, in my opinion, Huntress is a very high 3. Nearly a 4, however, she can be countered fairly easily. She has a locking mechanic. Her second ability basically locks on to a specific row. So if she is in the back row, she's going to lock onto the enemy back row hero for the first 3 turns. So basically, if you just put a tank in the back row, Huntress isn't really going to be doing that much damage to them. But she can still kill the front row if you don't have 2 tanks. So she's a very, very, very strong hero. You're going to want her if you want to be, a very strong player. So a high 3. Scarlet Siren is actually another ranged fighter. So she's also supposed to do a lot of damage. But Scarlet Siren has some more interesting flavor to her, so she's not just all about damage. Her 5th ability, Chain Explosion, for example, it has a chance to apply a certain status depending on whatever that enemy squad is. So she'll disarm shooters, which is enormous against like Nomad, for example. She'll silence fighters, which is great against Tech Priestess. She will silence vehicles, which is good against somebody like Wrath or Kamikaze, some of the really good heroes. And this can actually stack up to 2 times. Generally, it always does because you attack 5 times. So 5 times with a 65% chance, you're pretty likely to do it twice. So it's actually pretty cool. She has a decent amount of CC because of that. And then furthermore, she like burns targets and then basically buffs her own team, or at least provides extra damage to her own team. So right here, this hero squad gains 35% countering against vehicles, and all ally squads deal plus 50% skill damage against burning targets. So she's actually very versatile. You can play her in the back row as the main carry because she is going to do decent damage. But you can also pair her with another damage dealer because she has CC and because she's giving people plus 50% skill damage. It works really well if you pair her with another damage dealer also. So overall, Scarlet Siren, again, another solid 3, decently high 3 as well. Now, you don't need Scarlet Siren on your base. I would say out of these 2 carry heroes, you're going to want Huntress more than Scarlet Siren. Scarlet Siren is just like a really good hero. But she's not one that's going to like make or break your base, basically. And for the 3rd hero in this pool, we have Predator. So Predator is a support archer hero. Most of us by now know what Predator does, but essentially you just kind of use Predator to give your back row hero an extra basic attack. Depending on who you pair that up with, it's going to deal tons of damage. So if you pair that up with somebody like Ivanov, Nomad, or Huntress, it's just going to do amazing things because they all have special characteristics with basic attacks. The other reason to use Predator is for her 2nd ability. She increases the cast chance of the other hero's 5th ability, and that can be really, really important for somebody like Hunk, for example, whose only real good ability is his 5th ability, but it's really good. The fact that she can increase that chance for Hunk makes him actually very usable, and this is really good It makes quite a lot of heroes usable with Predator. However, the one thing about Predator is it's always going to buff the back row. Always. So you're kind of locked into certain scenarios. If you're going to be using Predator in a pool with, let's say, Huntress, that basically requires Huntress to go in the back row. Or if you're going to use it with Nomad, it basically requires Nomad to go in the back row. Not a huge deal, but it's just something to keep in mind. Sorry, I didn't mean to exit out of that. Predator, another solid 3. Maybe, yeah, I would say they're all really, really solid 3s. Huntress is skirting on 4. Even Predator is actually skirting on a 4, and Scarlet Siren's a very, very solid 3. But the hero that you all came here to watch this video about, Retrograder. Now, Retrograder is a firefighter. He's a support general attributes, meaning he can use all 3 troop types: shooters, fighters, and vehicles. Now, I'm not going to dive deep into Retrograder in this video. I haven't had enough time, basically, to test out Retrograder. We've pretty much had 2 days since he's been released. But what I will say in preliminary testing is that he's not amazing. He's not going to be a game-breaking hero, but he's also not terrible. Now, I did do a stream testing Retrograder for a long time. I pulled him immediately and tested him with the help of Corvette and Miss Sang from State 264, so thank you to them. And then everybody in chat basically giving combo ideas. We tested a huge flavor of APCs with Retrograder, but obviously I'm not going to cover every single combination. So pretty much the majority of the community basically is in agreement that right now, at least in the combos that we know of and that we're using, that Retrograder isn't amazing, but that you can still use him to varying degrees of success. Basically what I'm trying to say is he's a solid 2. Meaning you don't need this guy at all, but if you have him, you're probably going to use him unless you're like a maxed base and you have all the other heroes at your disposal. He's not really going to replace any of the better heroes. So he's not going to like get rid of Canoness. You know, he's not just like better than her. He's not going to get rid of it, really, any hero. Some people are going to be using him in their 5th APC. Some max bases will be using him in their 5th APC. I will for the time being, but I really have not had a lot of success with this hero. I can show you here, like, it works sometimes, right? He's not a terrible hero. It's not like he's Patriot and it's just going to suck no matter what. But there are also other times where he's just going to get beat. Like, he's just not going to do much. So that's with Retrograder. Like I said, I'm not going to do a deep dive on him in this video because, again, it wouldn't be fair to come out and say, oh, he's horrible, and then it turns out that maybe if I just tested one more combo, he was actually a god tier hero. I'm going to say that's pretty unlikely. From almost everybody in the community that I've seen, people are trying to make him work, but nobody's like, yeah, this combo right here is the one. It's basically just like, well, he has some solid, okay combos where you can use him. And that's fair. He's not terrible. He's not great. He's just mediocre. Now, people think he is bugged. His healing ability, for example, his recovery rate is 270%, but he really heals like he honestly, he doesn't heal that much. It's possible, but the way that the math works in this game, paper statistics don't really mean much of anything. For whatever reason, this 270 seems to be less than Canoness's. Don't know why, even though technically it's like a little bit more. But I don't know. It could just be, you know, some weird circumstances that potentially someone was, I don't know, lowering his healing or something like that. I do not believe he's bugged. The one problem with Retrograder that I have is that his 5th ability only clears debuffs. That's it. It does not clear CC, and it only clears combat debuffs, so not pre-battle debuffs. 90% of debuffs in this game are pre-battle debuffs, so this is basically useless. There's like 3 heroes who do combat debuffs. I mean, that might be a little bit of an under exaggeration, but there are very few heroes that actually do combat debuffs. It's almost always pre-battle. So the least that the development team can do if they want to increase Retrograder slightly but not make him over-tuned is basically just remove this parentheses right here so that he does remove pre-battle debuffs. It's going to be a big positive to Retrograder, but it's not going to make him over the top. Other people are suggesting some other ideas with this hero, but that would kind of make him too OP, right? That would be another hero that every single base needs, or else you're going to be completely weak. And I'm not a huge fan of that idea, because it basically means unless you have all these tickets, 1,000 tickets, for example, you're going to basically be useless. So I don't mind the fact that this hero is just mediocre. I do believe that, though, that he can be improved slightly and not break the game entirely. And I think in doing this, just getting rid of this condition, I think that would actually do it. So that's about it for this pool. Overall, the pool is honestly very, very good. Even if you don't think Retrograder is like that good, you're not impressed with his results, I would honestly still go for this pool if you don't have these bottom heroes, specifically if you don't have Huntress or Predator. If you have Huntress and Predator, and let's say you have like 1 copy of Scarlet Siren and no copies of Retrograder, and you have 500 tickets, this is like the most common scenario that I see, then you might want to think about skipping this pool. If you have, like, let's say 1 copy of Huntress and 500 tickets and no copies of Retrograder, obviously, then you'd probably want to go for this pool. I think Huntress is one of those heroes who you kind of need at the moment in order to be, you know, up at the top. Huntress is one of those heroes, so I would definitely go for this pool if you have a couple copies of her and you're close to maxing her out. Now, as always, the common guidance with heroes and the number of tickets that you want, please don't go for this pool if you have like 50 tickets. At the very least, go for this pool with 100 tickets. At the bare minimum. I would almost never recommend doing that unless you like literally needed 1 copy of every one of these heroes. You're not going to max out your heroes, and in the long run, you're just hurting yourself. Invest in your base. Take some time, be patient, save up your tickets for another season, and then you'll be incredibly strong. I see far too often people with bases who have like every single Season X hero with 1 or 2 copies. And it's not because you have bad luck. That's how it should work. That's right. Every hero, if every hero has the same probability, you will get every hero once before you get every hero twice. It's because people are just spending their tickets on every single hero pool. So don't do that, please. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would recommend going for this pool if you have 500 or more, or you already have a bunch of copies of these heroes. Now, let's talk about the skill order. So for Huntress, the skill order is 8, 6, 7. For Scarlet Siren, the skill order is 8, 6, 7. For Predator, the skill order is 8, 6, 7. And for Retrograder, the skill order, it really depends on the combos that you're going to be using him. He can go in first, middle, or last row, and he can basically be paired with anybody to varying degrees of success, of course. Generally speaking, I'm going to say get his 6th ability. The plus 15% HP is really good, especially if you're pairing him up with fighters, for example. If you already know you're going to be pairing him up in like a huge damage dealing combo, I don't know, with Death Rider and Lust, I've seen that combo actually quite a bit, Retrograder, Lust, Death Rider, then you can get his 8th ability first. So it's really going to depend on what you're doing. The safe judgment call is his 6th ability first, and then obviously his 7th ability last. What is cool about his 7th ability, however, is that it's always going to buff the resistance, but it doesn't make a huge impact on the actual game. It's more so just kind of like a cool, neat thing that only he has. So that's about it on this pool, guys. I hope you have a lot of luck. I know people are very disappointed in this hero, which is unfortunate. But he's not terrible, and I'm not just saying that because, like, to make you feel better. He's really not horrible. What I will say is that he's not that good. And hopefully, if the developers want to tune him up a little bit, I've given them a suggestion as well. So that's about it, guys. Let me know. If you're still confused, you're really not sure, you're like, man, I have 400 tickets, none of these heroes, do I do it, do I not? Stuff like that, just ask me first, and maybe I can give you some guidance. Also, let me know what you get and in how many tickets. I've seen some crazy luck on this pool, really good luck. But I've also seen a lot of bad luck. So, in any case, guys, take care, have fun. I'll see you soon. Enjoy. Peace.
Wake up, early mornings, late nights, hopping on a different flight. What's the meaning of life, ayy? Wake up, same-ish, different day. Make a wish, call it pray. Am I sick, am I okay, ayy? Stay up.